So, Dr. York, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to have a wonderful conversation, fascinating, insightful, meaningful about your book, Steep.
There you go.
But one of the things we never discussed is this very intriguing illustration that appears on the cover.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. I really wanted that cover, and I wanted it because of the backstory. That is a pen and ink drawing. It's a reproduction of a drawing done in about 1895 by a guy named Ramon Cajal. Now, Cajal was born about 100 miles south of Madrid, and as a kid, he was a delinquent. He was completely incorrigible. No one would accept him as an apprentice. He was attacking his neighbors' houses. All he wanted to do was draw. And
Mhm.
his dad, who was the local doc, said, "Okay, Ramon, uh, let's go where you can draw." So he took him to the local morgue, and Ramon started to draw, and he kind of found his bliss. Not long after that, he was drafted into the Spanish army and sent to Cuba to fight in the colonial war. But he took his notebooks with him, came back, and wanted to be an anatomist. At that time, you had to pass an exam to be a practicing doctor before you could be an anatomist. So he fails that exam a couple of times, but then succeeds. So now he's an anatomist, but because he's not English or German in the late 19th century, he's kind of at the edge of the banquet. He is low on the totem pole academically. But he gets an invitation to speak at the Royal Society in London. And all he had to offer were his slides and his microscope and his pen and ink drawings.
Mhm.
And he got up and he said, "You honorable gentlemen are all wrong about the brain. It is not an infinite network of fibers that's impenetrable. It's composed of many, 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 many individual cells. Our microscopes are too weak to show what they are, but I believe, based on the structure, that they're separable. Uh, I believe also that these cells communicate with each other electrically, although I can't prove it. And that's based on the structure. Finally, because I've looked at so many slides of brains of all these organisms, young organisms, old organisms, I can tell you that the structure of these cells changes with age. And I think that that is the structural expression of learning.
Mhm.
Now, the way this story usually ends is that the scientific experts throw Cajal out of the room and laugh him off, and he dies in obscurity. What actually happened was that he turned the room upside down. Uh, there was tremendous excitement, and that drawing, along with others, basically created what we call neuroscience. So when I look at that drawing, I see an avatar for beauty,
Mhm.
for uh, genius, for astonishment.
Mhm.
And furthermore, what that cell does, um, it modulates the tone in our muscles. And it's a great reminder of modesty and quiet function.
Mhm.
Every human on the planet has about 15 million of those cells at the bottom of the brain. And what they do is to inhibit excessive tension in our muscles so that walking, talking, writing a letter, picking up a cup of coffee, none of that could happen but for these cells. And because they're inhibitory, because all of that superstructure at the top is for listening, and the little tiny fiber at the bottom is for speaking to the outside world, they're a great model, I think, of listening, of modesty.
Mhm.
So please don't judge the book by its cover
Mhm.
because the cover sets a crazy high bar. And that's the short story of the cover.
Fabulous. Fabulous. So there you go. And what's inside will not disappoint. I can guarantee that 100%.
Hey, many thanks, Barb. Many
Thank
thanks.
you.
All right.
Thank you.